AI to the Sky, the podcast for those who build the future, not those who fear it. AI, automation, disruption, no mercy. Hosted by Joseph Fail.
This episode is powered by Rocket AI. WhatsApp bans costing you sales? Rocket AI automates messaging legally with AI.
Hello, listeners. Welcome to another episode of AI to the Sky. Today, we have Baltazar Torres. He's an entrepreneur passionate about blending human insights with AI. His startup, Probado, connects founder with beta testers and provide AI-driven competition analysis to help them see the truth about their MVPs before launching. Baltazar has observed firsthand how brilliant ideas often fail because founders rely too much on intuition. By combining structured human feedback with AI insights, he enables founders to learn fast, pivot smartly, and scale successfully. Welcome, Baltazar.
Thank you so much for having me, Joseph. I'm super excited to be on the podcast.
No, thank you for accepting this. So, Baltazar, tell us a little bit more about you. Where are you? Where are you from? What's your age? And why AI?
Of course. So I'm currently 19. I'm from Colombia, but I grew up in Miami. And I'm a current freshman here at Babson, which is around the Boston area. It's a university that focuses a lot on entrepreneurship, which I guess has been propelling my need to grow Probado. And I mean, I guess the reason that I chose AI was because when I first found the problem that I was trying to solve, which was validating startups fast for founders that are super lean and maybe don't have the resources to do it. And simply the testers was not enough. And providing that AI insight, I knew was going to be the big difference maker in my business.
Oh, that's fascinating. So, Baltazar, tell us what's the dumbest mistake you've seen a founder make with their MVP that made you scream inside like, please don't do this. Maybe if you can give us the real horror story.
Of course. So I think the biggest mistake I've seen made for myself when I was actually building the MVP for Proel, because at first I thought that Proel's first product had to have everything all at once, a bunch of features and the most advanced things. And the reality was that what I needed was maybe one or two features that were solidified and really worked on. But when I launched at first, I had 10 different services that were being offered in Proel, and
Uh-huh.
it was just a bunch of money and resources wasted on things that people did not need yet. And even then, I thought that I had like the solution figured out on how to build an MVP because that's what Proel is for, right? It's to help MVPs build. But the reality was that as a founder, I was actually messing up myself.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I've seen founders spend like 6 months building a feature, but nobody even clicks. And the product, and sometimes they are really proud of it. But well, this story is really interesting. So you built Probado to combine humans and AI, right? But was there a moment you realize founders are basically guessing blindfolded before this tool existed?
Of course. I mean, I think just realizing that a lot of times maybe a good idea isn't necessarily a good business idea is why I built Proalo. Because a lot
Uh-huh.
of times maybe we're building something that we think is very cool, but in reality, there's not a market for it. There's not people who are willing to pay for it. So what I've seen a lot in my months at Proalo is that founders are oftentimes guessing blindfolded. They're releasing products before validating them, and in that, they're wasting resources on things people maybe they think it's cool, maybe they don't even care about, but most importantly, they're not paying for it. And that's what it's all about, getting validated features that people are willing to pay for.
Oh, yeah, of course. So you are telling me that Probado, most founders were basically throwing a spaghetti to the wall, and that sounds brutal, man. So a lot of founders think their idea is brilliant and that people just get to it. How does Probado smash that ego and give founders reality checks without breaking them?
Yeah, so the way Probado does that is that we're combining testers, which is the first part, and these testers are we're sourcing them from software companies, from healthcare, from just different industries, and we're putting them within the website, and they're testing the entire website through video recordings. They're writing summaries on them, and they're just giving insights through their experience, saying, hey, I've worked for 20 years in software, and what I've found is that this feature that you're building, although it's cool, many people don't end up paying for it. And a lot of times that's a hard reality to face as a founder because you've worked so hard on a feature that you think is going to revolutionize the space, but in reality, it's just another another want, not another need that consumers are looking for. So the way that Proal smashes founders' egos is by giving them structured feedback, and I think the right founder, when using Proal, will come out better on the other end when they receive this feedback.
Oh, yeah. I love this. Ego is the killer. I had founders argue with me for months because user will understand eventually and give me medals. How do you actually force humility?
I think the way that we force humility is just the target market that we're looking for are really small, scrappy founders that are, like you said, looking to start their MVP. So a lot of times they do come with that humility because they know, hey, listen, like, this product is really trying to help our team out, so we have to take the insights that we can get. So I think the way that we get through the founders is exactly by the human touch of the testers. Because if we were just giving back AI summaries or AI competitor analysis, which is something that Proa can also do, maybe they wouldn't listen to that as much. But when you're actually interacting and seeing people test your website, that human touch, it really resonates with you.
Oh, yes, for sure. And your AI competition, maybe it's an engine maps, reveals rivals and highlights where a product can shine. Can you give us a concrete example of a founder who thought they were unique and the AI just crushed that myth?
Of course. So the reason, before I even get into that, the reason I built this new feature that launched a couple weeks ago is because even
Uh,
when I was building Proao, I thought that I was the only company in this market, and I thought I was going to be a unicorn, and that I was the only person doing this. But then when you do some really deep research, which takes a lot of effort, you realize that there's other people doing the same things, and it's hard to realize what can I do to differentiate myself from the competition, which is what we built this for. And I think an example that where we've seen this with Proal customers is this company that I won't specify their name, but what they were looking to do was revolutionize the way that um, marathons and race signups worked online, because right now it's a very tedious process. There's a bunch of pop-ups and it doesn't feel like you're registering for a race. It feels like you're maybe filing your taxes or something that should bring you joy. It's just bringing you misery. And it's a really good idea what they're building, but they thought that they were the only company in the space. But when we ran their product through the AI competitor analysis, they kind of realized that although there's not that many players in the space that they're targeting, there certainly are. But those insights that our AI was able to give them allowed them to pivot and focus their resources on the maybe the features that other websites didn't have. And in that, they're creating a really good product that is going to release soon.
oh, yeah. But, well, I need some details. I don't know if you can give us the raw number, what feature they thought was original, how the AI destroyed their fantasy.
So yeah. So, for example, a feature that they thought was original
Yeah.
was that what they were trying to do was implement AI to sort of give back their daily routine and how much they were doing per day. And with that, it would recommend you races. And it's a very good idea, but there's certainly other websites that have done it. But what we did to work with their team was sort of realize this is a good idea, so you shouldn't take it out of your product. But the way that we can capitalize on this is by implementing resources to not only analyze your lifestyle to see which races you should be doing, but analyze the races also, because some races, like you may know, are either very humid in humid conditions, hilly. So the AI analysis took care of all of that, and it's really revolutionized the product that they're building.
Oh, that's fascinating, man. So, sir, I've seen founders waste months building features nobody uses. In your opinion, why do humans still trust intuition over structured feedback? And how do you make them listen to the data?
Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of ties back to one of the first questions that we dealt with, which is how we check founders' egos.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of times as founders, like when we get stuck on an idea, we get so stuck on it that we think it's the only way to go about things. And I think that's a lot of times why humans trust their own intuition over the structured feedback. But I think you have to have a nice balance between the two, because if you don't and you're fully going off your intuition, then you're completely ignoring the facts. But if you're only going off the facts, then you're completely ignoring the creative side of what entrepreneurship really is. So the way that we make them listen to the data is by being straight up with them about what's working and what's not working, but giving them actionable metrics through the AI competitor analysis, like I mentioned, and
Uh-huh.
by specifying certain things that these features that other websites have used have historically shown to work by X, Y, and Z data. This is, and then yeah,
No, that's really interesting. So you are saying to us that maybe storytelling it's working better than intuition in some cases, right?
yeah. And just to hammer on that idea, I think that we've been able to gain such a trust with the founders that we've been working with, because we selectively choose which startups that we're going to work with, which startups we believe have traction to grow in, and more importantly, which founders have that personality that they're willing to take constructive criticism. So we don't want to work with a founder that thinks he's always right. We want to work with a founder that's willing to collaborate.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. It is like watching someone walk into a wall repeatedly, and well, yeah.
Yeah.
So, what are the raw numbers, inarguable signals that show a product is actually ready to scale, not just validate, but forget vanity metrics. And can you give us numbers that really matters?
Yeah. So I guess for me, the numbers that we look at, especially when it comes to Probado, is how many customers are coming back for a second round of testing after they test once. Because having startups come and test once and never come again is not a sustainable way to run the business. So what we're looking at is the customer retention rate. Like how many customers can we get the first time and keep them for a second round of testing, or get them to reference another friend that may be starting a startup to test with Pro. So we're looking at customer retention rate, which is why we're so focused on quality to make sure that customers keep coming back.
Okay. Okay. So we're going to wrap up soon, but maybe if you can tell us or share a story of a founder who completely misread the market. How did Probado help them pivot or fail fast before it got worse?
Yeah. So I think a really good example of that was there was this early startup here in Boston that was testing with Pro called Puente. And what it was is it was a financial literacy app, but at the same time, it was a consulting service. and they were about to release this new round of features. And before they started the production for it, they sent us their prototype, and they told us that we're looking to validate this feature before we start, and because we're going to invest like many thousands of dollars into it. And what it was sort of a consulting service that it was AI driven, and it was to tell immigrant run businesses in Boston how to run their businesses. So what we did is we outsourced testers who were from the Boston area, who maybe had experience with small businesses, and they kind of went through the prototype and they told the founder, listen, like the product that you're building, in my opinion, should not be to tell these immigrant run businesses how to run their business because they're running their business the way they know how to. So we shouldn't be trying to change the way that they're running their business. We should be supplementing it with maybe financial literacy, which was at the core of the product, and maybe some consulting on things that they don't have experience on. And with the help of Probado, they were able to restructure and pivot and not put in thousands of dollars into a feature that maybe those small businesses would have ran away from because of fears of maybe losing control of what they had been building for so many years.
Oh, that's a huge help on that. So, Baltazar, if you had 60 seconds to talk to every founder out there about to launch an MVP, what brutal, maybe nonsense advice would you give about using AI and human feedback before they waste everything?
Yeah, I mean, if there was one thing that I would have to say is that, I mean, like everyone knows, we're living in an age that's full of AI, and AI is certainly something that can do unbelievable things. But it's really important, especially when you're building a business, to never lose the human touch of what makes a business a business. It's the human connection between a producer and a consumer, maybe a business to business, like talking to humans and seeing how it feels when they're interacting with the product is many times much more important than statistics or customer retention rates, even like I talked about. It's sort of the feeling that gets imbued into your body when you go into a website, what you feel when you're scrolling through features. And yeah, just I think it's very crucial to combine the two, but never lose touch of like the human aspect of everything.
Oh, great. That was really great. So, Baltasar, you said that you are 19, right?
Yeah.
So, how do you realize and which maybe you can tell young people that it's around your age, you can tell them just to go for it and try AI because I here at AI to the Sky, I see many people that thinks that AI it's only for technical roles and or only for systems engineer or something like that. So can you tell us and can you tell them an advice that just change the rules because this is an AI era, right? It is
Of
different
course.
than the other areas that we are used to face it.
Yeah. Um, I mean, before even answering that question, I want to preface by saying that I'm not technical at all. Like, I know like very rudimentary coding skills. Like, I didn't code anything for the AI at Proal, but just along the way, I've been learning. And yeah, like, especially with AI now, like, you definitely don't have to be technical to get into the space. Like, you just have to put in the work, understand how things like APIs work, and just stuff like that. And even on top of that, like you said, the age doesn't really matter. Like when I was really starting, when I was 18, por a while, at first it was really intimidating because I thought to myself, like, at the time I was still in high school, like, there's no way that I can actually build a scalable business. Like, no one will take me seriously. And it's kind of hard as a young founder. So, to the young listeners of this podcast, the what I would say is just to keep pursuing. And if you're persistent enough, it's certainly going to be harder as a young founder, but you have the energy for it. And if you're persistent enough, like, you can definitely do it.
Thank you for that words. And well, my last question: which tools you can tell to young people they can use, or maybe they can start using AI just to keep going on?
I mean, yeah, there's so many tools out there, and I think just one of the easiest tools are just YouTube videos. And I know something that I would do when I would talk to the developers of Pro and they were telling me all this technical stuff. I would just get on ChatGPT and use the voice feature and start talking to it. Explain to me what an API is. Explain to me how this part of my website's gonna work. The developer's saying that this is what's gonna happen when the AI starts working. And then if you just keep asking questions like ChatGPT, Claude, like all of those AIs are so good at answering those type of questions that the amount of knowledge that you can gain in such a little time is honestly really impressive.
Okay, thank you so much. So, Baltazar, please, if you can share your social media and every social that you have, and if I know that many entrepreneurs are going to watch this episode, please share your contact, because I think some of them want to just share something to you.
Of course. So just on LinkedIn, if you search up Baltazar Torres, Baltazar, that's my LinkedIn. And then if you want to check out the website, it's just probadotesting.com. And yeah, like just please reach out to me. Like I'm super open to connect, just talk about business ideas. And if you're looking to test a startup or even just become a tester here on Probado, like I'm always willing to connect.
Thank you so much for that, Baltazar. And well, congratulations for what you have done until now, and keep going on. That it's just the beginning, I think. Friends, follow please Baltazar and Probado on LinkedIn and apply what you heard. Don't just listen. Your MVP depends on it.
AI is coming for actors, artists, and podcasters. Lucky for you, we're still human. Subscribe now. AI to the sky.